This guy comes rushing and screaming at me across the street. You can't take pictures here. You have to leave. You're not allowed here. This is a place where you can't take pictures. Good morning, Internet, and welcome back to Matic Film Society. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. In today's episode, this is more of a question than anything else. I recently went out and did some street photography using the Yashica Electro 35 GT. Being that this camera is a rangefinder, this makes it one of the absolute best cameras to do street photography with. The focusing is super quick, and the camera is an aperture priority camera, so it will always pick the shutter speed. So all you have to do is find what aperture is the closest for getting your scene perfectly metered, and then the camera is going to do the rest of the work. It's got a really fast, quick shutter, very easy to load film into, and it just makes doing street photography really simple. So last week when I went out and did some street photography with the Yashica, things didn't really go how I was expecting them to. And I've been doing street photography for about 2 years now. I've never run into any problems while out doing street photography, and I know that that's kind of a common fear for a lot of photographers who want to get into doing street photography. What if someone gets mad at you? What if someone screams at you? What if someone really doesn't want to get their picture taken? How do you go about doing street photography and not getting into trouble, I guess? I'm not really sure what it is that I'm trying to ask. Let's take a look at some of these images that I shot on this most recent session of street photography, and I'd really like to get other photographers' opinion on whether or not I'm in the wrong here, or if I did something wrong, or just all around general feeling about how people feel about street photography. If you have any thoughts or anything, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and how you feel I probably should have reacted better, or just your general experiences that you've had doing street photography. If something similar has happened to you, I'd love to hear them, so leave them down in the comments below. So this street photography session started off just because it was one of those days where I was feeling a little off for some reason. It was kind of like this weird, slightly anxious feeling of like, I know I should probably go out and do something, but I don't really want to. I'm not feeling creative. I'm not feeling like I have any projects that I specifically want to be working on. And so I kind of loafed around for a little bit, but then eventually I was just like, you know what? Who cares? Let's just go out and maybe do a session of street photography. Street photography has always been one of those mediums where it's really hard for me to build up the motivation to go out and do it. But as soon as I get my feet on the pavement and I'm actually walking around the city and seeing what the light's doing, seeing how the people are interacting, it always just sparks something exciting in me. I really love the feeling that I get from doing street photography. I use it a lot as one of those kind of creativity buildups where if I'm not feeling very creative, if I'm not feeling very motivated to make something, then if I go and do a session of street photography, typically the next few days after that, I have a lot more creative juice and I have a lot more ideas coming through my head. I think that's kind of because when you're out doing street photography, you're so connected to it, or else you're not going to be getting good images. Like, you have to be so present and aware of everything that's moving around you and how things look in certain light and different compositions, and finding unique ways to get images. At first, it was going really, really well. I was having a really good time. I was enjoying shooting with the Yashica, and I think I got a few images that I'm really proud of because I was able to take my time and kind of look for compositions before I was shooting them. I was able to find a couple really fun places to either look through windows or have someone walking through a beam of light right as they're kind of right in the center section of a statue. Overall, this session of street photography I think went really well. The only issue came about when I was walking through this train station, and I actually got a really good picture of the train conductor. Right as I was walking past, he noticed that I had a camera and kind of gave me one of these things, and so I'm really happy with that picture. And honestly, I ended up speaking with a number of the people that I took their photo of. This is kind of a thing that happens a lot when I'm out doing street photography, is I'll take someone's photo and then they'll notice me and they'll kind of look at me, but like, I've never had anybody be upset or bothered or even like just annoyed about it. Either they completely just ignore me and go on their way, or they strike up a conversation. They ask me what camera I'm shooting with. They find out that I'm shooting film. They're always pretty excited that like, oh my gosh, like you're still shooting film. That's really cool. What camera is this? How does it work? And so like I actually end up making quite a few friends when I go out and do the street photography sessions. But this session that I did last week kind of had the opposite. I mean, I did strike up a few conversations with a few of the people that I took their photo of, especially this woman as she was walking right past in a bright white dress. She was really nice and she loved the image, and she actually had me send it to her after I got them developed. But while I was here in the train station, I was walking through, taking a few photos. I didn't get anything great, but then I have no idea where this guy came from, but somewhere on the other side of the train station, I hear some guy yelling, and I just kind of ignored it because I didn't think it was directed at me. People yell in the city all the time, and you just kind of learn to live with it and ignore it. But then I took another photo and kept walking on my way, and I heard someone yelling at me again, and I look over and this guy comes rushing and screaming at me across the street. You know, you can't take pictures here. You have to leave. You're not allowed here. This is a place where you can't take pictures. And like it's a random train station in the middle of Salt Lake City. Like there's people everywhere. I probably wasn't even the only person taking pictures that day. Like I saw a few other photographers out there because it does have a feeling, this place. Like there's always unique characters. There's always something happening. And I've shot there multiple times in the past, but this guy comes screaming at me, yelling at me, and he gets right up in my face, and he's like it kind of looks like he's about to swing on me. And I'm just like, sorry man, like I don't have any pictures of you. Like I don't know what you want from me. Like I'm gonna just like leave now and just like let this be. So I kind of like tried to brush it off to the side like as easy as I could and just be like, all right, like I'm sorry, like I'll just keep going on my way. And so I walk out of the train station and across the street, and I noticed that he's following me. Like this guy is so upset with me that I was taking photos in this train station, and he just kind of like, he's got his, you know, his jacket and his hood all up, and he's got his hands in his pockets, and he's like hunched over and like watching me as I keep walking by. So I've got my dog with me too, because he comes out walking the streets with me every time I go out and do street photography. He's a really chill dog. Like he does not get upset or bothered by anybody, but he also is a blue heeler. So like he's got a lot of aggression and like protection bones in him, you know, like he does not like it when people step up to me and start acting aggressive. He gets really protective, and so he's like kind of vibrating and like freaking out, and like you can tell that he knows that this guy is freaking following us. I take a couple weird turns just like down alleyways and odd side streets just to like really see like how dedicated is this guy. Like is he gonna keep freaking following me? I made it another block or two, and I look back and he's even closer. Like he's only about 50 maybe 100 yards behind me, and he's trucking along. Like he's trying to walk a lot faster than I am so that he can catch up with me, and he keeps coming and he keeps coming, and I'm like, this has never happened. Like what is going on? Why is this guy following me? And my dog's getting more and more anxious, more and more stressed, and eventually he like comes up and he like screams at me and yells at me. He's like, what do you think you're doing? What the hell's your problem? You know, like he used a lot more colorful language that I'm probably not allowed to put out here on YouTube, but like he was properly like fuming angry and screaming at me. And at this point my dog's like growling and snarling, like, what are you, dude? Like back up, do not get out of like my dog was stressed because he thought this guy was about to swing on me, you know? And so like I didn't know what to do. And so he's like, what do you think you're doing? Like what's your problem? I was like, dude, I'm just out here taking pictures. Like I don't know what your problem is. Like I don't have any photos of you. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from. He's like, you can't be here, you know, and just keeps screaming at me. And I was like, well, like honestly I can. There's nothing that says I can't take pictures anywhere. It's like I don't know, you can. Like you can take pictures wherever you want. There's cameras literally everywhere in the entire city. Anywhere you go, you're always on video. So like I don't know what this guy's problem was or why he was so upset with me or so angry, but it was just like, it was strange. And so I ended up just being like, okay, like whatever, I can do whatever I want, you know? Like I was kind of a little bit of an asshole. Like I'll be honest, like I did not really react to him and like, okay, like I'm sorry, like is there anything I can do? Like I didn't. I was just like, honestly, I was just like, whatever, dude, like I can do whatever I want, leave me alone, don't get up in my face, and just like walked off. And I don't know, I guess he got distracted by somebody else that was annoying him and went and followed them around the city. But like it was such a unique experience because I've never had something like that happen to me. I've never had anybody give me any grief or have any like negative interaction with anybody while doing street photography. 9 times out of 10, I'm actually making some friends while I'm out there because, you know, like you get a picture of someone that you know is going to be pretty good, and then you end up striking up a conversation with them, and then maybe you get like a proper portrait of them, and you know, like you get people in really cool situations. And I've made friends doing it because they want to know what you're doing, they want to see how you're doing it, they want to end up seeing the photos or whatever you take after the fact. And so, you know, you get their phone number and you send them the funny little photos that you got of them walking across the street, and like it's always been such a positive experience. But then this time, like I was like, I was kind of rattled, you know. I was like, geez, like I'm a little spooked to go back out and go do some more street photography because I got yelled at, you know, like some guy. And I'm not a huge person, like I'm only 140 pounds, you know, like this dude is probably easily pushing 200. Like if he wanted to swing on me, there's not much that I'm gonna be able to do. Like he'll probably beat the hell out of me. I mean, I don't know. Thankfully he didn't swing on me, but I don't know. I'm curious. That's the whole point of this video. That's what I want to know from you guys who also do street photography or have had any experiences like this. What did you do? How did you react to it? And maybe you could give us some tips and some ideas about how to either avoid having these kind of situations happen or what to do in case they do happen. And I don't know, maybe I'll put together another video if I get a whole bunch of responses of other people's ideas and other people's thoughts on how to go about this kind of thing and how to do street photography in a way that avoids having these kind of things happen, and give you guys some tips for what I learned from it. But honestly, like, I don't know. I don't want to get yelled at again, but also like maybe that's just kind of part of it. Like you have to be willing to accept that little bit of risk of like, hey, somebody might not be totally stoked about you being out here with a camera taking pictures. You know, maybe you'll have some guy that you have no idea where he came from just come up and scream at you and then stalk you down the city for, I mean, he followed me for probably 6 blocks total, and it was so weird. I didn't know what to do. I was a little nervous, I was a little freaked out, but like I had my dog with me, so I mean I was fine, but just odd. The funny thing is, like, I wasn't so nervous about like getting hit or like getting attacked for some reason, but the main thing that I was like actually nervous about, and this is probably like, I don't know, maybe a lot of photographers feel this way, but like I had my Yashica Electro 35 GT, which is a camera that I've spent a lot of time like getting refurbished and built back so that it's in proper working order. And like I love this camera. I was like, geez, I hope he doesn't like do anything when my camera gets hurt, you know. Like I'm like more nervous that my camera is gonna get broken than I'm gonna get punched in the face, you know. I'm like, oh, what if he like swings at me and like I turn and my camera gets smashed into something, and like, A, I'll lose all these images, and B, then my camera will be broken. And like that's the thing that I'm most nervous about. It's kind of stupid. Like I know I should be more nervous about like getting beat up, but I was pretty nervous that I was gonna end up having my camera broken. And so I don't know, that's kind of like the end goal of this video. Is I'd love to get people's ideas on what to do, what not to do, some ideas about street photography, because I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. It gives you such a creative juice, you know. Like every time I go out and shoot street photography, something new happens, something different than I've never seen. And like I'm walking pretty much the same streets and the same places over and over again. It doesn't matter because day to day it changes so drastically depending on the people that are out, the light that you're getting, the weather, and everything that's going on. And so that's why I love street photography, and I'd love to keep doing it. I mean, obviously I'm going to keep doing it. Like this isn't going to stop me from doing street photography because one guy came and screamed at me, you know. I'm just going to try and figure out how to do it and not get screamed at, I guess, is the end goal. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Matic Film Society. We'd really appreciate it if you liked this video and subscribe to our channel, because we've got a lot more videos coming out. where we're gonna do a bunch of education about film photography. We're gonna do digital photography, and we've got some other videos coming out really soon about video production and lighting setups and how you can make your own videos and all that kind of beautiful stuff that you get to do with cameras. So join us on this process as we wander around the world taking pictures of strangers. Thanks, bye.